Hello, welcome back. I haven't really done a sit-down video in a while, but since it's the spooky season, I figured I would do a little sit-down book video with you. The past month or two, I kind of went through a crazy book buying haul phase. I don't know. I really got into buying books recently. I don't know. Before we moved here, I went to an American library a lot, so I could rent or borrow a lot of library books. But the English library section here where we now live is not as great. So a lot of books that I really want to read aren't available in the libraries. So I've been into looking for good book bargains online, and also joining book clubs helped, which inspired me to get some books to read with others together. And these are some books that I have bought recently, or two of them, I will say, I bought this past spring, but it just fits so well with this haul that I figured why not just put them together. But let's get started. So the first book I'm going to talk about is Dracula by J.D. Barker and Daker Stoker. And Daker Stoker, I believe, is the grandson of Bram Stoker. And so he wrote this book Dracula instead of Dracula because this is kind of like the prequel to Dracula. This is the story about Bram Stoker as a child and his first experiences encountering vampires and that whole world. And this is actually a book I'm currently reading. This is also a book club book. To be honest, I've never really read horror before or really scary books, unless you count, which I will get into later, like middle grade scary books. That's pretty much the closest I've ever gotten to scary books. It's a genre that intrigues me for sure, and it's definitely a genre I've grown up with. My mom likes to read a lot of horror books, but I've never done it myself. So when it was suggested in the book club to read it for this October, I figured I would get a copy myself and read it, and so far I'm enjoying it. I'm only on page 125, and it's quite a chunker. It's got over almost 600 pages. I'm hoping to finish it this weekend. I don't know. That'll be a lot of reading time. We'll see if I can do it. But I really like it. It's not like scary. Like, I think I'm more the type of person that is more affected by movies and seeing visuals. I am enjoying it so far, although I'm not very scared yet. I mean, there are some like creepy things that keep my intrigue, and I really want to continue reading to know more of the story. So I think that's really good when a book can do that for me, because it's not always a guarantee. Yes, so if you like Dracula, I myself have not read Dracula yet. I am hoping to read it possibly next year after reading this book, so that I'm prepared for the classic original vampire vibes. Although I've heard that Dracula is not the original vampire, that there is a book that came out before Dracula. I don't remember what it's called, but I'll have to look into it. But this is book number 1. The next book that I got is Pumpkinheads by Rowell, and the first Rowell book that I read was in 2016, I think, and that was Fangirl, and I really enjoyed it. And I've heard about this graphic novel the past couple of years, and I've always wanted to get it. It was really hard. I couldn't find it anywhere in any store. So I finally bought it online, used, I believe. And it is about two high school seniors, Deja and Josiah, who work at a pumpkin patch every year. And this tale is about their last shift together. And I think it's a very atmospheric story of just being at the pumpkin patch. One of my favorite childhood memories was going to the pumpkin patch climbing on hay bales, like doing a hay bale ride, taking a train, and just picking out the perfect pumpkins. And so this seems like a really feel-good story. And I haven't read that many graphic novels. No, I have read a few. But this will be probably my first larger graphic novel. And I'm really excited to read it. And yeah, I just think this will be a really, really cute love story. I'm a sucker for like teeny love stories, and if it has Halloween pumpkin patch vibes, I mean, what more could you want, honestly? So that's that one. The next book that I got, this is one of the books, I got 2 books when I was in Oregon this past spring, winter, and I went to Powell's and I got 2 Neil Gaiman books. Neil Gaiman is, I would say for the most part, a children's author or middle grade author, and he is well known for his kind of spooky writing style. He is the author of the Graveyard book, which is one of the books that I got from him. And I have already read this book just recently in my, you can see me reading this in my autumnal read with me video. And this is the story about a child, a baby who grows up in a graveyard, basically. His name is Bond. Well, he receives the name Bond for nobody. And it's kind of a coming of age story of him growing up and learning all about the supernatural world within the graveyard. He lives with ghosts and learns about ghouls and vampires and werewolves and all of these other mystical creatures. And while someone is looking for him, who is not a good person, let's just say. I actually ended up rating this book, I think, like a 3 out of 5 stars. Not because it's not good, I think it is a really cute story. I think I was just hoping I think I was just hoping for it to be a little bit more spooky than it is. I mean, it definitely gives graveyard vibes, but it's you can definitely tell that it's middle-age focused. I also don't think I'm a big fan of coming-of-age stories. I like books with a lot of plot, and I feel like this one didn't have a lot of plot. It was just like a telling of what happens in the graveyard. So if you are into a coming-of-age story, as well as kind of like a children's middle grade spooky vibe, I think this is a very cute book to go to. The next Neil Gaiman book that I got is, of course, the classic Coraline. I've also finished reading this book already. This is one of the more spookier middle grade books that I think I have read. We all know the classic movie as well. I've definitely seen the movie before reading the book. And the book goes a lot quicker. The movie fills out more details, I think. And I like the style of Coraline, the movie, because obviously it's a children's movie, but it's just creepy enough that it can keep the attention of adults. And I really like the movie, and so I figured I'd try the book. I do like the book. It's just a lot shorter. There's only about like 150 pages, I'd say. So it's a really quick read. You could probably read this in a day. Well, you could read this in a day. And it is just creepy. It's just a weird vibe of like, what is going on? Why is this happening? Yeah, so I do recommend reading Coraline. The next book I got, I don't know if it 100% fits the spooky vibe theme, but the next book that I got is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. And this is a book I've been dying to read for so long. It's been out for a while, and I've only heard positive things about this. And so I knew it was probably going to be a really good book. And so I bought it. It's a chunker for sure. I don't even know, over 500 pages, about 550 pages in this one. And in this book, in France, let me just read the back. In France, 1714, a desperate woman makes a desperate deal in the dark, a bargain to live forever, but be remembered by none. And so this is her story, of Addie LaRue's story of living through different lives and meeting someone who eventually ends up remembering her from a past life. But there's also some mystery intertwined. And it says also on the back, but the devil never plays fair. So it's definitely a thriller mystery, I believe. And so I think it has its place here in my little book haul. So the next book I got is a book I've heard recommended on a lot of YouTube videos, and I've also just seen circulating around a lot on Goodreads as well, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. The first book I read by Erin Morgenstern was The Starless Sea, and to be honest, I did not end up liking The Starless Sea, and I think with The Starless Sea, a lot of people are, you're either for it or you're against it. I really wanted to be for it, but I was against it. We'll get into that another time. But I've only heard positive things about The Night Circus. And I think this was the book that came out before The Starless Sea. It's been out for a while, I believe. And a lot of people just mentioned the very autumnal atmosphere that is in this story. And so I figured it's probably gonna be perfect for me. And I think it's a story about a circus that comes at night, obviously. And it's also a circus that arrives without warning, and it just is there. So I am excited to read this as well. I'll probably end up reading this in November because November is still very much autumn vibes, but it's not spooky season. I don't believe this is a spooky book, so I'm keeping my spooky books for now to read until Halloween, and then after that I'll get to the rest of my autumnal books, including The Night Circus. The next book that I got is the first book in a series called The Diviners by Libba Bray, and this is a book that was in my American library, and I really wanted to read it. I just didn't get to it because it is kind of a chunker as well. I feel like all these books I'm getting are chunkers. This one's about 578 pages. And this is the story of Evie O'Neill, a girl who is shipped off to New York to live with her Uncle Will, who has a odd love for the occult. So it's about witches, and it's also set in the 1920s, and it's also a mystery of figuring out a murder of someone who also has an occult symbol on them. Not only is her Uncle Will obsessed with the occult, but Evie also has a dark secret, and that is that she is herself a witch and that she has powers. So this seems like something very dark, very spooky. I think I've only heard good things about it, and I might save this for next year because I don't think I'll be able to make it for this spooky season. But this is a book I've definitely wanted to read for a long time, and I finally jumped in and bought it. So I'm excited to get to it once I do. Coming to the last book of my little spooky book haul, that is Magic Lessons by Alice Hoffman. This is the new prequel story to her series of the Practical Magic series. The story of witches, a group of some sisters who are witches who, when they fall in love, the person that they fall in love with dies. And so this story is the prequel to the original Practical Magic movie, or book. You've probably also seen the movie with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. I love that movie. So we all know from the Practical Magic movie or book that the Owens family has a curse, that whenever the women fall in love with a man, the man eventually dies. And so this story is all about how that came about, with the birth of Maria and her being adopted by a family where the girl who takes Maria in teaches her the unnamed arts. But Maria also has a gift. And then one day, Maria falls in love with a man who ends up leaving her, and so she then puts this curse into place for the rest of the generations to come. So I'm also excited to get into this. This is my second book club book for October. So once I'm done with Dracula, I will read Magic Lessons. And I'm excited because I haven't watched Practical Magic in a long time. I haven't even read the Practical Magic books. So I am excited to get into this prequel to that story. Maybe even end up watching Practical Magic after this. And I don't know, I think I really might end up liking witchy stories. It probably is just the whole cottagecore thing that I love. I don't know, the vibes that witches give off, of just me wanting to run away to a cottage somewhere and just live in the forest. So yes, that is Magic Lessons. That is it. Those are all of my books that I bought for spooky season or just autumn in general. I probably won't get to all of them this year because there's a lot of them, and a lot of them are chunkers too, so I don't have all the time to read all of them right away. And some I want to just keep for next year for the next spooky season. But I already know my list is growing. There's so many other books that I want to get for the autumnal season that I'll probably get to next year. This is my season. I love the season. Yeah. I'm so excited also for the next video that is going to come out after this one. It's taken me all month to make it. And I'm really excited for you to see it, and it has really just changed October and autumn for me this year. Yeah, so thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any spooky books that you're reading or any autumnal favorites that you have enjoyed in the past that you would recommend to me, please let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. I'd love to expand my Goodreads want to read list. I hope you enjoy your autumn, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.